And right now we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick here with Katie Greifeld, taking you through to that closing bell with our global simulcast. Joining us right now is Massar and Tim Stenovec. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms, television, radio, our partnership with YouTube, with all of the major indices in the green. The S&P setting up for a weekly gain. The Russell 2000 outperforming them all. And of course, all eyes right now, Massar, on SpaceX and its debut in public markets.
If I had a nickel for how many times I said SpaceX today,
would you be a trillionaire?
I would not be as rich as Elon Musk. SpaceX shares, folks, up as much as 30% at their highs today. Right now, we're looking at about a 20% gain, but still above the IPO price.
We've talked to a lot of wealth managers today. We've talked to a lot of analysts. We've talked to a lot of the folks in our newsroom who've covered this, Katie. And the folks who handle money have repeated over and over again just how polarizing this debut has been, in the sense of hearing from clients, half want it, half want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, we've been hearing the same conversation, but then you think about, just the magnitude of orders that this IPO got. You're hearing reports that not everyone was filled it to the degree that they would like to be, this heavy retail demand. And then you think about what we saw in the share price, and certainly a lot of people wanted SpaceX today. Whether that continues over the next few months when you see those lockup agreements expire, that's a totally different conversation.
Well, right now you've got about 500 million shares of SpaceX that have now swapped hands in the secondary market. We'll give you a fuller breakdown here of how that stock moved, but we should point out the majority of stocks across this tape were actually in the green, and that's enough to push all of the major indices here in the green on the day and on the week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average adding about 350 points, or 0.7%. The S&P 500 up 37 points, or 0.5%. The Nasdaq Composite is up about 0.3%. The Nasdaq 100 up 0.6%. And your outperformer on the day and on the week, that's going to be the Russell 2000, an 0.8% gain on the day and a 4% gain, Massar, on the week.
It's like a gift to you. You love that index, don't you?
Want to hear how the Dow Transports are doing?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Well, they did well, Massar. Up 0.3% on the day.
There you go. All right, back to the S&P. I'm going to go. And you got most names, Katie, in the S&P 500 higher today. 395 to the upside, 107 to the downside, 1 unchanged.
Yeah, and breadth was pretty good when you take a look at the sector level. It wasn't all about rockets and AI and space today, because you had 10 of 11 sectors finish in the green. And once again, your biggest gainer on a percent basis was the materials sector.
Yeah.
Similar thing to what we saw yesterday. Romaine is psyched, and I'm psyched for him. Financials also having a great day, higher by about 1.3%. Utilities, real estate, the list goes on. The lone underperformer today, the lone loser, healthcare, down about 0.2% as a sector.
We need healthcare. Mosaic, the biggest gainer in the S&P 500. That's fertilizer.
Makes you think.
We need fertilizer, too. Just going to put that out there. Hey, all right, so we got to go to the belle of the ball, SpaceX today, making history, largest IPO ever. Historic $75 billion IPO, drawing more than $350 billion in demand from institutions and retail investors, although not everybody got what they wanted in terms of exposure there. This is according to people familiar. Made Elon the first trillionaire. Did you look at Rich Go?
Yeah, it hasn't been updated yet.
All
I just pulled it up. But he's still at $970 billion, so.
Equal to 7 Warren Buffetts, according to Top Live.
Nice. Wow. There's some perspective for you, right? All right, the stock, though, at its highs today, 30% to the upside at 176 a share, but that's not where it closed. It closed with a 19% gain, stock closing at $161.11 a share, so $161.11 a share. Company market cap, I'm just going to quick pull it up. I think it stayed above $2 trillion, but that's where we saw it, $2.1 trillion. At the close here. So it'll be a fun one to watch throughout the rest of this year.
I would also like to point out that the stock is still going. I mean, they're trying to settle all these trades here, and it's still moving here. So obviously incremental moves, but still trading.
No, that's a really good point here. I can't get.
Don't they know what time things close?
Money never sleeps, Tim.
I'm having problems with my GOP and GIPO functions right now, so maybe it just can't keep up. Intel is another gainer I wanted to point out. Continuing its climb, it gained more than 9% yesterday, another 6.5% to the upside today. It was a top gainer in the NASDAQ 100 and also the S&P 500. That stock, folks, up about 25% this week alone. We know the news yesterday, B of A, a double upgrade to a buy, but it just continues to attract investors in terms of the trade. Stock's up about 235% year to date. So I just wanted to throw that one in there. And then Roku, that was a late ad. Thank you very much, Finley, for throwing that in for me. Stock up about 20% here at the close. Roku said to be in talks to sell itself, with discussions being held with at least one U.S. media company about a potential combination. No final decision has been made, and it may ultimately not lead to a sale, according to those in the know, but nonetheless, definitely a standout in today's session.
Okay, you got the gainers. I got the decliners. It wasn't just SpaceX that moved in today's session. A lot of space stocks, I should say, moved lower today, 7% to the downside for the Procure Space ETF. In fact, if you look inside that ETF, it's been down really since the beginning of the day. Virgin Galactic, which has been on a tear, fell 32%. Momentous down 27%. Firefly Aerospace down 19%. AST Space Mobile down 15.5%. 34 stocks in there were lower, 14 were higher. So the momentum going into this was that a lot of these stocks did go up, but the decline in space-related stock really underscores how speculative the space business remains. Some investors shifting attention to SpaceX instead of smaller companies in the industry.
I was actually a little surprised by this. I know it's just one day, and this could obviously change a lot over the next few days and weeks, but I would think that just with SpaceX arrival, that would actually broaden out.
Well, do you think if, let's say you were a big believer in space,
yeah,
and you, in the future of space, maybe you've shifted some of your assets from these companies
Absolutely.
to SpaceX.
Yeah, that's
Perhaps
possible.
That's
and some people are going to look at SpaceX as the proxy for it all, and the same way people look at NVIDIA as the proxy for everything in the AI data.
Or maybe those people wanted to buy a piece of Twitter. That, remember, is now a tiny piece.
You had to go there.
Of SpaceX. I had to go there. The company formerly known as Twitter.
You know
Let's go to
today,
software.
by the way, speaking of which, not to digress.
Go ahead.
Go on.
I reactivated my Instagram account. I haven't posted anything
Oh, I
yet.
thought you were going to say Twitter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a beef with Zuckerberg for a while. We settled it.
Do you follow us all on Instagram, or what's the plan?
I literally reactivated it in the limo ride in to work today. So.
All right.
But when I'm back in the helicopter on the way to the mountains, I'll.
Thank you.
Let's talk software. I want to go to the iShares Expanded Tech Software ETF.
Is Katie Greifeld worth following on Instagram?
Yes, I'm very fun. I post a lot of jokes.
Let's see if she makes the close friends list. That's the question.
Right. She'll segue.
That's the question. You might not see anything from Katie. That ETF fell today by about 0.2%. This actually extended a recent slump that's put the software sector on track for its longest losing streak in about 2 decades. It fell today, and it's the stock's 9th straight negative session. Its longest such streak going back to a 9-day drop that ended going back to 2006.
Yeah.
So pretty substantial here. It's a proxy for the software industry, which gets me to my final decliner.
Can I just point out, though,
Yeah.
and I know Adobe was obviously the poster child of
That's
that.
where I'm going.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, Adobe shares took a hit today. Romaine,
Patience.
it's okay. I
guys
know
are just on the
editorially.
same
You know, you should send me a memo as to what you're going to talk about.
Literally
or
in the
something,
chat,
so I know.
but that
Okay.
everybody has access
All
to.
right.
But that's
Well,
okay.
I was busy on Instagram.
The company, we covered this late yesterday. It said its CFO would depart, leaving a leadership vacuum following the CEO's announced resignation. Shares of Adobe today were down throughout the day today. They ended up settling lower by about 6.8%. The quarterly results and outlook surpassed analyst expectations, but it really was the personnel stuff, the CFO announcement, that overshadowed the results and led to the slide in shares today.
Yeah, and down to the lowest level since 2018, and it really does get to that idea when we talk about, these software companies being disrupted. I mean, I know they make the argument they'll have a role in this broader AI universe, but I mean, I don't know, at least for right now, it doesn't seem like people are buying it.
I can't wait for the Romaine influencer era to begin.
Yeah, you're going to be somewhat disappointed, but
Thought
I'm
you were
going to
gonna
give it a
say
shot here.
That you can't wait for yields.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Real quickly here, let's take a look at yields. I'm not sure anybody's paying much attention to it. A slight uptick here on the day, just about 2 to 3 basis points across the curve. We should point out oil did drop here on the day. Something to keep an eye on as we head into the weekend, of course. A lot of the comments by the President of the United States about a potential MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, of a deal to end the war in Iran.
Fingers crossed. We'll see what happens, right?